You dumb, beautiful fucker.
Who wants to be in America's slash fic with Abraham Lincoln?
Louisiana Purchase, that's a name.
You need to really get off my balls, okay? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 226 of Y'all Can Hear podcast. I'll be your hoist.
You hoist.
I'll hoist you to the rafters. I'll be your host today, Patrick. And joining me today is my co-host.
I'm here. I'm Jonathan.
It's Jonathan. It's just the gruesome twosome today.
Oh, God. I don't know what about that just made me violently ill.
Like, yeah, we're everybody's favorite muck monsters. I'm a pile of goo, and you're another pile of goo.
We're goopy.
Yep. You know what? I'm gooped.
Yeah, you know what? After this, past couple years, I think Ava had it right. I want to turn into Tank now, please.
Yeah, I feel like, hashtag return to monkey, overblown. That was hashtag return to goop.
I want to return to goop.
God, I'm just imagining the end of Evangelion, but instead of that giant naked Ray, it's just a giant orangutan scooping up a handful of Tang.
God. But it's photorealistic too, so it's even more uncanny.
Yeah, everything else is still traditional anime, but that monkey is fucking real. It's rotoscoped.
Yes.
I'm talking Rankin-Bass level.
Fuck Rankin-Bass. We're getting to Ralph Bakshi level of fucking rotoscoped.
Oh, that'd be a good bit. What if we got Rankin-Bass to reanimate into Evangelion? What would that have been like?
It would be significantly uglier, I can tell you that.
Can you?
And not just this isn't even a pejorative against Rankin-Bass. This is just kind of one of those objective things.
Yeah.
Where they all their character models are just some of the butt fucking ugliest. And really lumpy. Why the fuck are they so lumpy?
Yeah, it's someone put someone in a sack, filled the sack with bees, slung them around.
Yes, 100%. And it's not so bad with the stop motion shit, right? Because you're literally just.
I feel like that's I would say pretty nice looking.
Yeah,
with the character design.
I think that's why those are remembered so well. But cult favorite, their version of The Hobbit. I forgot how fucking just butt fucking ugly everyone in that movie is.
God,
and it didn't help either that I was zooted as fuck while watching it. And I'm like, this is the wrong thing to watch while zooted into the stratosphere, all right?
Because every one of these fuckers look like somebody's paralysis demon. With their weird noses and I
wouldn't even say paralysis demon, because that implies that I would be scared of them. It's just these little fucking dwarves. One looks like the fucking aliens from Crystal Skull.
With their 4 times forehead. Yeah,
with his fucking elongated head. And because it's very limited animation, so you kind of have to repeat them. It just change the colors every so often, because there's 13 dwarves and a lot of them sound like their names are alliterative and rhyme and shit.
Yeah.
So it's just it would make sense for you to kind of copy paste, but this one's cyan and this one is seafoam green and this one's yellow.
There's definitely some
shit.
palette swaps, redecos. Here's Horkin and Borkin, and they're just exactly the same, except one's just a different color red.
Yeah, and there's 2 of them in particular that just have these elongated Kiadi-Mundi heads. I imagine fucking George Lucas just took a big hit, just all right, you see those dwarves? I want to make a Jedi like that.
Yup.
And they're like, Mr. Lucas, I don't know if that. I just shut the fuck up. I'm paying y'all. I'm the boss ass bitch around here.
He just claps him across the face. God,
Did I tell you I modeled the Empire off of America?
Yep.
And the rebels off the Viet Cong? That is a direct quote.
No,
from
yeah,
George
I believe
Lucas.
it. Yeah, because
Comrade George.
Yep.
We salute you. Even though I cannot look you in the face anymore because I've seen sexy versions of you and it's not fun. Just imagine like a woman with just like big honking knockers.
but like
has like a fake beard and is like dressed up like George Lucas. It is uncanny as
khaki
fuck.
pants and his like plaid shirt.
Yes.
God.
Honestly, hold on. I think I have that saved somewhere.
Oh Jesus! Why you think do that? I'm just thinking like, God, the idea of like a Rankin-Bass Evangelion. Can I imagine like all the Evas just look like hunched over goblins, just like,
but not like cool goblins, like goblins that you would like in the Rankin-Bass movies where they're also short and lumpy, but kind of just look like boars too. It's weird.
Like whatever you think a fantasy character looks like in the common visual vernacular, it's like that Rankin-Bass just said, no, we're doing something completely different, going off trail here. God, and like I'm just imagining like Gendo is just like really portly and just like it was like really long skinny fingers.
Yes. Just like, oh!
God.
I could have swore I saved this. Or I might have deleted it because it was just uncanny as... Hold on.
You're like, I don't need this sort of evil imagery on my phone.
Like, I found it. I fucking found it.
God damn it. Who asked for this?
I don't know. It's like the that fucking TikTok format that's just like, God gave me these hands and to do great gifts. What I'll do with this, you'll just have to wait and see. And it's usually like the most like cursed shit, like fucking like Mr. Krabs in like a bikini and hooker boots.
Mr. Krabs is a thick bitch. Like when that meme was going around. Mm-hmm. God, you saying TikTok, that reminds me, last week had a hell of a start for me. When I'm just, after a long day, I'm just scrolling through our Twitter DM chat, and all of a sudden, Cody and Tanner just throw out something, and it takes me by complete surprise. It's like, Pat, do you know this person? How do you know this person?
Oh, fuck. I was like, where the fuck is he going with this? And then I was like, oh, shit, I remember this now.
And I'm just like, how do you have this picture? Because it was a picture of my cousin. He's a cousin by marriage. And like, yeah, Pat, don't you realize that your cousin is like hella famous on TikTok?
Like, how many fucking followers? He had like 6,500?
He had over 167,000 followers on TikTok.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just like, what the fuck? Because like, of course I know him. Like, I'm not super close to that side of the family, and then just all of a sudden he's like an influencer. Like he has a fucking merch shop, and like his whole gimmick is that he's this left-leaning redneck.
Yeah,
which I'm just like, what?
Which that is a subgenre of leftist political content online. Just like these redneck as fuck cishet white guys who are just like, you know what's fucked up? Republicans. And it is great, and it's usually a put on, but they'll just be talking like this down here. And it's like, man, what they doing up in fucking Washington right now with this Capitol riot shit, man? Fuck this shit.
Yeah, like
they get it, dude.
Yeah, like he based as hell. But I'm just like, it just took me by complete surprise because, like I said, I don't know that side of family just super well. We don't just really hang out a lot. So I'm just like, what do I do with information?
Yeah,
now?
And also, like, the fucking, like, there's, like, politics around, like, our fucking hometown Dollar General or some shit.
Yeah, like, like he was, like, taking down this lady who said, like, the reason why the freezers at this Dollar General and like our backwoods school town was out because of like some circuitous terrorist plot, like the fucking Taliban was involved,
Like, it is some, like, detached from reality QAnon bullshit. Like, I do not get it. But, like, he's just like, y'all, none of us are important enough for this shit. And I wish, like, these conspiracy theorists who come up with these elaborate, circuitous, just intricate levels of, like, fucking corruption upon layers and layers of, I don't know, whatever they're on, like, satanic pedophilia or something. You know, it's not fucking coherent. But if they just, like, take a step back and just be like, whose interest is this in? What is these people's, like, interest that they want to, like, kill virgins and bathe in their blood to attain immortality and then turn the entirety of the human race into fucking Tang? I don't know, like, what the fuck they think, but I think it's just like, if they think that someone is in control, it makes them more comfortable than having to come to the realization that no one knows what the fuck they're doing, and we're just kind of spinning in, like, fucking on a rock in space.
I mean, yeah, because, like, the problem with every global conspiracy is, like, that it has the supposition that all the governments in the world are in cahoots with each other, and they're working in sync, in perfect harmony, in order to actively defraud and take down the citizens of the world. Which, you know, the biggest problem with that is no one fucking works together for any goddamn reason.
No, like, you only work with people, you know, or at least, like, if you think it in, like, a sort of cold, cynical geopolitical sense, it's like, what are my interests in doing this sort of thing? And it never lines up with anything logical. And I just don't understand the leaps in logic they get to, where it's just like, oh, it's gonna be the new world order, we're gonna put our fucking chips and we're turning the fucking frogs gay, or whatever Alex Jones is saying this week.
But I would say, frogs, you're welcome to the next Pride Parade.
Yes, frogs, you can be gay all you want. That's actually awesome. But I don't know. And then, of course, you know, I always say there is the line of, like, anti-Semitic demarcation with any sort of conspiracy theory, because once you cross that border into just being a bigot against Jewish people, you're fucked. There's no coming back from that. There's no deprogramming that shit. You're just going to be sitting there just like these people, like, have such a level of detachment from reality. They think the whole world's leaders are like fucking anime villains.
Yeah, when, like, yeah, there are cartoonishly evil people in the world. That's a given, but to think they're like all.
But they're not trying to achieve human instrumentality. That's what.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
saying.
not fucking sealed. They're not that fucking smart. They're just, like, using whatever political ideals they had, like a fucking cudgel, and, like, bashing it over the head of just, like, the world's population.
Yes.
And it's just like, yeah, no one is as smart or as, like, Machiavellian as you think they are. It's just, like, kind of just...
Well, and, like, humans are, like, super fucking predictable, too. Like, I mean, you can't just, like, act like these people are playing, like, 364-degree chess, you know? Needless to say, make sure you get the vaccine. Make sure you wear a mask in public. Because even if you don't show any symptoms of COVID, you can also pass that to people who are immune compromised. So please be responsible when you go out, especially with all the new, like, the Delta variant. And I imagine it's probably going to turn into something else because no one will get the goddamn fucking vaccine.
Yeah, because, you know, living in Alabama, we have to struggle daily with, like, one, living in a very high concentration of, like, COVID cases just in our county.
Yeah.
Never mind, and just, like, Alabama has one of the biggest spikes in COVID cases in the country. So, like,
yeah,
like every day is like walking on landmines. And then we found out that today of the day recording that there is an anti-mask Trump rally happening in a county that's about an hour and a half away from us.
Yeah,
it's unhinged. Like, literally, that county was, like, being shut down and, like, put into, like, an emergency state because there were so many COVID cases in it.
Well, and it was a preemptive thing. It's like everyone was seeing what was happening. It was like
The writing's on the wall.
the writing's on the wall. This is going to be a problem because all these dumbasses are all unvaccinated, and none of them are going to be wearing a mask at all. So it's like, and then of course, to just when like. If you're still one of those people who's just like, oh, Trump's not a racist, he's not a bigot, why is this like the first rally he's had since he lost the election in Cullman, Alabama, which is a known sundown town? Like, I wish I was joking, but I'm not. Like,
because that's how fucked up it is around here. That's the climate that we have to deal with.
Yeah, it's just real fucked, and I don't know where we're going with this, but just...
It's fucked, and we need to reenact that scene from Invincible with the big laser that shoots down from space.
Yes. In Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
But anyway...
on to lighter news outside of, like, COVID and the world burning up. JoJo Part 9 was announced officially on Tuesday that Araki will be starting the publication of the Part 9 manga after a short break because Part 8 recently ended.
So has the final chapter for Part 8 been released?
The final chapter of Part 8 has released.
As of this recording.
As of this recording. And according to Colt, who's been reading up to date, it ends very well, but there is a significant portion of the plot that has not been addressed upon its ending. And some are speculating, going by the title JoJo Lands, that it may have something to do with multiple JoJos and different, like, basically, all the JoJos are coming together, all the JoJos are revisiting in this new part, which, if it's true...
it's shockingly, eerily similar to our The Lads Make JoJo Part 9 episode. So you should go and check that. I forgot what number episode it was, but it's really awesome.
There's another like very popular theory that the main characters will be twins. When you combine their names, they make JoJo, which is also what we did in ours.
I'm just saying, I think we're on the same wavelength as our.
Yeah, I think we were ahead of the wave.
Very.
Now it just remains to be seen that if the final battle includes a Mecha Dio created from the Cristo statue in Rio de Janeiro.
If that happens, Pat, I want fucking royalties. I was like, all right, Mr. Rocky. We came up with this shit first.
I think we do have some listeners in Japan, and I think one of those accounts might belong to Mr. Araki.
Which, if that's the case, I love you.
We love our Japanese fans too. And by the way, the Lads Made JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 9. That is episode 206.
206. Make sure
exactly 20 episodes ago.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't that far. It was within the last 6 months.
Which is like, I'm still like, shit, we're over the 200 hump at this point, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
And no signs of slowing down.
Woo, 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 woo.
When you sign up for a podcast, you sign up for eternity.
Yeah. And we're slaves to this. We're chained to the mics. We're actually chained in the basement right now.
Yep. We're actually kind of trapped in the basement because as we're recording this, there's a raging storm outside. So, like on our previous episodes, we might see the floodwaters just sort of start to seep in.
Which, that's always scary when that happens.
Like on Caging Greatness, which records here, like we're wont to be attacked by different kinds of insects. Well, on this one, we're just kind of rained out.
We're just being attacked by water.
Oh, it was the summer anime episode because we recorded that during a thunderstorm.
That's right.
Because you literally hear the thunder on the air.
Yeah, I had to miss that one.
Which was good shit.
Very good shit.
We didn't really talk about that much about JoJo and that. We just kind of went off a tangent on it. But I'm super excited for the new JoJo because we're getting JoJo Part 6, the anime, in December. Mm-hmm. Which, if you listen to certain members of the podcast, it includes the best JoJo.
Oh, yes. Jolene Cujo. It's going to be pretty rad.
I'm thinking the Part 6 manga gets a
Western, like an English release?
An English release around that same time, because I've already seen, like, sort of, not the pre-orders, but, like, basically, like, the placeholder bits for it, because, Shonen Jump's been releasing, like, these compiled editions and the hardback of the JoJo's. Like, they recently started Part 5, I believe, in the collected editions. coming out so soon too.
Yeah, which I'm surprised that it doesn't have it. It didn't have an official English release until now, especially with the popularity of the anime. But
Well, I know, like, way back in the day, like in the early mid 2000s, they did release part 3, but I know it had a very different translation, and so they were releasing like in their like original formats, like 9 or 10 chapters, because there's definitely like this new trend of like re-releasing in like compendium or omnibus versions, and that's kind of that with like new translation and features. Because what little I remember of the original English translation from Jump is that because Jotaro's catchphrase is yada yada, it doesn't have a direct English translation.
Yeah.
I mean, basically it's exclamation of exasperation. Most times these days that's translated as just like good grief.
yeah,
I think, but in that original translation, they translated it as "fuck me,"
I mean, I guess, but
which like
that just seems a little unnecessarily edgy. But
yeah, it's kind of like how with translation, it's a lot of times like interpretation.
yeah, because there are various concepts that are only exclusive to certain languages, so it's hard to really translate them to other languages.
Especially if there's like a direct one-to-one like concept, and a lot of times it was especially bad in like scanslations, like people who
Duwang and all that.
yeah, so where they like take liberties with it. Like obviously it's roughly what it means, but it's kind of like to like an egregious extent. Like there's that very infamous panel from a Dragon Ball Z scanslations where Goku is about to fire off the Kamehameha after Frieza throws away his merciful gift of energy, and it's like, fuck you stupid fuck, and he blasts him away, which anybody
Fuck you stupid bitch!
which anybody who knows Dragon Ball Z, that is wildly out of Goku's character.
Yeah.
So he even understands the concept of fuck, let alone saying it.
Because he is very much a dumb bitch.
So, yeah, you can see how people can sort of skirt the rules and like the meaning a lot of times in translate, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, we got a new trailer for the new Pokemon games, which is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, which is an updated re-release of the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
I'm surprised they haven't done it already. I mean, because when was Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire? That was
20.
That'd be like 2013-ish.
Yeah.
I have a computer right in front of me. Maybe I can fucking look it up.
If you're
like
looking
an
for
adult.
specific dates. Yeah. And, it's taken years, like, well longer than anyone that thought would actually happen.
2014.
2014. That sounds about right. I was going to say 2015. They're finally doing the remakes of Diamond and Pearl. I know some people are a little put off by how it's kind of like done in this kind of chibi style. It kind of seems like they took the original graphics and kind of upscaled that to 3D.
Yeah.
But I think it looks fine. I think it looks cute. And I don't know if I'll get Diamond and Pearl, to be honest, because like just knowing myself and how I haven't finished any of the last few games, I kind of feel like it's just a worthwhile investment.
Yeah, because I ain't got Gen 8 stuff. I did Gen 7. Like, I got like a couple hours in it. I haven't picked it up with Sun. So it's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'll come back to it eventually, know, because I love Pokemon, don't get me wrong, but I just, like you, I know with me, like, if I'm not going to get more than, like, 30 minutes into a game, I probably shouldn't buy it,
Yeah, because,
save
like,
that money for something else.
It's not that I don't like it, it's just, like, I'm kind of not really into games as much anymore. Like, obviously, I still, like, enjoy them, but it's kind of, like, as a distance, I don't know if I have the interest to, like, sustain playing, like, a longer game.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely games I have that I'm like that with, especially with like RPGs, but there hasn't really been any RPGs that I've been wanting to play lately.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't really know what all is out. Like I got Colt got me a Near Replicant, which I'm excited. I've only barely opened.
Yeah.
So it's just like Most of the games I've been playing, if I've been playing any games, have been fighting games lately.
Like games that you can pick up and put down like pretty quickly. So there's not like as much time investment in a single playthrough.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say, Pokemon Legends Arceus also got a new trailer within that same direct, and I was like, holy shit, this is definitely like the next, pardon the pun, evolution for Pokemon. Because you have this wide open world, very reminiscent of Breath of the Wild from Legend of Zelda, and it takes place in the distant past of Sinnoh, the area where Diamond and Pearl takes place.
Yeah.
And it's this very feudal Japan styled environment, and when you play as your character, they have like this very ninja-esque like wardrobe, and they went more into like the different supporting casts that you see across the world. Like there's this research organization that's called the Galaxy Team that sort of alludes that this might have been like in the future, like somehow it's connected to the villains of the original game, Team Galaxy.
Yep.
So I'm interested in that, and plus probably the biggest thing from the trailer was they showed off some of the new Pokemon in it. Was basically their regional variants, which they introduced in Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
and
which I think that was a really cool idea.
It allows them to have like new content for the game without making a brand new Pokemon.
Yeah, because, well, and like, every generation's going to have its own version, like, its own dog, its own bird, Pokemon sort of thing, so.
Like the basic mammal, the basic bird.
Mm-hmm. And then, plus, it's kind of like this cool, like, what-if sort of thing, where it's like, you take, like, Snorlax, but we make him a ghost. I don't know.
That's one of the most fun concepts, and like when I see people make up their own Pokemon OCs, because there's like several different like accounts out there, like from Instagram to YouTube, like this is the X region, these are the different variants out there, and also with the different variants, it kind of gives like some older Pokemon like a chance to kind of
having like a new life.
Yeah. And so of the 4 that were shown, and John, I don't know if you got to see these yet.
I only saw the Growlithe.
So we have, first one they shown was Weird Deer, which is just evolution for Stantler. It's just like a deer-like Pokemon. It has this big, long, like bushy kind of beard, it's very like regal and imposing.
Yeah. So is this the first time that this Pokemon's had this evolution?
No, with Sun and Moon, they did like a Pokemon that had an evolution that was regional exclusive, like how in Sword and Shield, Zigzagoon had a tertiary evolution, where in every other game it only evolved once to Linoon, and then the third one it got a third form. Mm-hmm. Well, now with Arceus, Stantler has an evolution. They're a very basic fish Pokemon. Basculin gets an evolution called Basculegion. Looks really sick.
I really like this sort of like Japanese watercolor.
Yeah, it has like this like Japanese carp, like dragon motif. It's water and ghost, and its like lore is pretty cool because it evolves once it absorbs the spirits of the Basculin that have perished in the journey upstream.
Oh wow, that's
so because you see like very like stylized like ghost flames across it, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And the other one is Braviary, which was like a very like American themed.
I mean, it's a bald
eagle. But this time, in this game, it's psychic. You see like this kind of mantle of like psychic energy on its head, kind of like gives it the impression of plumage. But it's like this really big eagle with psychic powers,
which is kind of terrifying.
But the biggest one that come out of the news was the regional Growlithe, which cute as hell, regular Growlithe, 10 out of 10 Pokemon from OG Pokemon. It has this big fluffy curly Q like mane in the front, fluffy tail, and a big fluffy like helmet on its head, like even that it obscures its eyes. Mm-hmm. And that helmet it's technically made of rock, so it's a fire and rock typing now.
Okay.
And on my timeline, it has been like 70 to 80% just pure, unadulterated adoration for this cutesy little dog. Everybody loves it. Or so I thought. Because apparently on the dark and dingy parts of the internet, my cousin has been telling me that his feed has been nothing but just abject hatred for it.
Why? It's cute as fuck.
Because apparently on their end of the internet, people just like, they ruined Growlithe. It looks ugly. They massacred my boy.
Like, this doesn't erase Growlithe. Like, OG Growlithe's still a thing.
No, it's gone now. It's been Thanos snapped out of existence. It's only this fluffy freak now. And they're saying shit like it's no longer viable in battle because it's 4 times weak to water. It's like, you can't even use it. The damn thing's useless. And I'm just like, how could you live in such a negative light? How can you just live in this dreary abyss?
Unless you're going to be one of those fucking nerds who really gets into the competitive play bullshit, which I did at one point, and it's like fucking work. I'm like,
Yeah, like
I play games for fun, not for this. Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, like there's people who do EV training. I never got involved with that bullshit. Like, I don't have the interest. I don't care.
Like, the level of actual like optimability you gain from that is very minuscule.
Like, I'm not gonna mini max some Pokemon whose stats are subpar until like being like a tank for combat. Like, I don't care. I just want to take the ones I like and play through the game. Hell, just doing regular leveling up to me is just like, fuck. I'm so glad they do the thing now. I think it's with Sword and Shield, it's like blanket XP experience. Like everyone gets experience even if they're not in battle. You don't even have to use experience share anymore, I don't think. Everyone gets experience. Which is like, thank Christ that's like a quality of life improvement.
Because like because the only reason you would keep even let's say you have an experience share, the only reason you'd keep it to just 2 in your party is to extend out game time.
Yeah.
And it's just a time waster. And like, I'm all for, like, I'm not against like grind and RPGs and stuff like that.
Because that is inclement to the game.
Yeah, but like, I remember especially like when I was younger and, would only really, I had my favorites in my party that I would use. So like, by the time you get to the Elite Four and you need like all 6 Pokemon to just be fucking bosses and you only have at max 2.
Yeah.
You have to spend so much time at Victory Road fucking, getting everyone fucking yoked to fight the fucking Elite Four or whatever they're doing now.
Yeah. Let the sort of the negative Nancy just sort of wallow in like their tedium, because like, I don't play...
And their pedantry.
Yeah, like, I don't care about that. Just let me play my game and let it be fun, and just kind of like, hot take, it's okay for games to be short. It's okay for games to be like streamlined or linear. Like, and like, it's okay to play games on easy mode too. Like, all those things are allowed to exist, because not everyone's going to have the same level of like attention or ability to just go through this multi-hour game.
Yeah. Oh, and not everybody got time for that. So it's just like, why like put up these extra barriers to entry for people who would normally enjoy whatever you're doing?
Yeah. It's like, you're not a real fan. You didn't suffer in the minutia like I have.
It's like, why do you want a fucking medal? Like, goddamn.
Yeah, a Purple Heart for the ass whipping they're gonna catch for being nerds.
Fucking nerds.
But anyway, Pokemon looks awesome. Arceus is coming out in January, like really soon. Can't wait for that. And Diamond and Pearl comes out in September, I believe.
Oh, like literally in a couple weeks. Fuck.
Yep. I think it's the latter end of September. But
like
a little over a month, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's really soon.
Holy shit.
Kind of like a personal note, one of the big events for us this past week was our good pal and friend of the show, Lucas, finally had their art show opening.
And it was fucking rad. Like, and like, I remember like him, like when he first started sharing his stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, this kid's good. And then like just seeing like how much he's improved since then has been incredible. Because his stuff is really fucking good.
Because he was already at a very high level of skill, and just to see how even that has like grown is incredible. And for him to have this space on his own to show off what his work is, it's just like the secondhand joy to see your friend succeed like this.
Exactly. And then just seeing like so many of the red dots where people had bought those pieces too.
Already.
Yeah, it's It's wild.
We'll put a link in our description of this episode where you can go check out Luke's art. He's a fantastic tattoo artist, practicing tattoo artist, active artist, and his Instagram is @_Inkalist, INKALIST_.
Awesome.
Or at least that's what it was last, because he is wanting to change it pretty frequently.
Well, we'll have a link in the description.
Yeah. So there'll be a dedicated link down there. Probably one of the biggest events of the week, at least for us and probably a lot of other people. We watched AEW Rampage
last night.
And one of the biggest names of professional wrestling came back after a 7-year absence, and that was CM Punk. It's now officially All Elite.
Yeah. And like I'm someone who doesn't have a that much of a context for this. Even I was getting a little emotional. I was like, God damn, this is powerful shit.
Yeah. Because for those who don't know, CM Punk is a professional wrestler. He made his name on the Indies and then went to the WWE, where he really made the name for himself for a wider audience. But then just because how WWE is very set in their ways and just like very toxic, so it basically just beat his passion out of him, and he
and then like, because I was listening to that podcast he did with Colt Cabana like right after that, and like how like he'd been trying to get that fucking shit on his back removed. And then when he went to a different doctor that wasn't employed by WWE, he was like, this is like MRSA. Like, how are you not dead? Because, like, shit like that's nothing to play around with.
Because he basically had like a very inflamed, very severe staph infection that the company doctor did really nothing for. So here's like vitamin packs, to the point where he was so full of these like vitamin pills that he literally shit his pants on live television during the match.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you take so many fucking antibiotics. You literally just fucking shit yourself.
And just like a very unreasonable schedule and sort of promising and like a lot of things in there for keeping them, and just sort of generally screwing people up with being petty, like giving his firing papers on his wedding day.
That was like extra fucked. And what little I know of Vince is very much in his character.
To be just like insanely petty.
Yeah. And for some reason Triple H hated him. It was weird. Like,
There's a lot of egos involved, and like no one was really happy. So he left for several years, and he was very appropriately and understandably bitter after the fact. But then when AEW, like the only other wrestling promotion on television, blew up and came to like nationwide recognition, even outside of just like wrestling fans, he made his president know that he wanted to go here. And like the lead up to this has been insane, because like especially with wrestling fans who've known WWE and like what they're like, it's like it was more or less confirmed that he was going, but like we're just so damaged and gaslit from WWE, like making you feel bad for being a fan and just like going against what would be an obvious good sense for business or storytelling. Mm-hmm. Until he actually came out, people weren't even sure he was gonna do it. Like, that's how fucking deranged WWE has made people.
Yeah, it just was like, it's like I don't know, it's just fucking annoying because WWE has so much good talent, and they just waste it on stupid, out-of-touch stuff that I think would even be out of touch in, like, the 80s.
And just, like, generally being counterintuitive. Like, the simple thing of, like, letting someone win in their hometown or on their birthday. Like, it was a running joke that, so-and-so is in their hometown today. They're going to lose tonight.
Yeah, even if it went against everything that would make sense.
Because, like, literally the crowd would be on fire. We were cheering for this person, and then, like, just to, like, cut the legs out from under it because, like, they have the power, and be like, haha, they would lose. Usually in a fairly embarrassing fashion. Mm-hmm. Dr. Britt Baker, like, had that big match, like, the week before in her hometown. Like, they blew the roof off. And then, when CM Punk came out in, like, the NBA stadium in Chicago, like, one of the biggest arenas for basketball, sold out in less than 3 weeks. So when he actually came out, when his music hit, it was, like, I've only been watching wrestling for 5 to 6 years at this point, and, like, that is a all-time moment. That was indescribable, the level of emotion and just energy that happened on that recording.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things. Like I was expecting them to hold on to that at least till the middle of the show, if not to the end. And it starts up. We're having some issues with the Spanish track start, so we're trying to get and then right as we get everything situated, you just hear those opening notes to Cult of Personality, and you couldn't hear anything for like a solid 5 to 10 minutes because people in that stadium were screaming so loud.
It was deafening, and
like you couldn't hear the song at all.
I mean, we were screaming too, because we in the back of our heads we knew, but because we were just being programmed to feel bad about being a fan, it's like literally there's a chance he couldn't show up.
Yeah.
And then when he did, we're just like, holy shit, he's there. We knew he'd be there, but here he is. Oh, my God.
And it's so good to see, because before I got into wrestling, just hearing wrestling fans talk about, current wrestling, I was like, why the fuck do y'all watch it if you hate it so much?
Yeah, because for a long time, the WWE was kind of the only game in town, or especially on American television. And, of course, for those who are looking for it, there are plenty of other places to go.
Yeah, but something that's more easily accessible
on free television.
Yeah,
but just to see him come out and just be vividly emotional and just in awe of his reception, it was contagious. You felt it yourself. Liz, who's not really a fan of CM Punk, she got kind of chuffed and just holy shit, you see it in his eyes and everybody else, because there's a very famous shot now of one fan who is just bawling at the fact that CM Punk was returning. That emotion is just infectious.
Mm-hmm. It was so just, it does the heart good.
Yeah, less than 12 hours, those videos have over millions of views.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all watched it multiple times, even individually, but yeah, it's fucking rad.
It's super cool, and definitely the effects of this will be felt for months to come. CM Punk was one of the wrestling's biggest stars. For him to be in arguably the hot new landscape for wrestling, it's going to just change everything. Everyone's going to come to AEW already, and now that he's here, even more so.
Yeah, well, and the thing is I don't know, I forgot what I was going to say, fuck. Even up till recently, questioning the legitimacy of AEW is well, can they really make it when, WWE has just been so dominant for so long? It's it can't, can someone just, break this hold they have? And by seemingly treating, their talent with respect that they deserve,
and the audience with respect too,
and the audience, and just putting on a great production, they've been doing multiple million viewer nights on Dynamite and shit, and I imagine they make gangbusters on pay-per-views.
Yeah, and this isn't a wrestling podcast, but for me, wrestling was the first thing in my life that I feel I had something to be excited about in a communal way. Because when you grow up in a college football town, and football was the big thing people scream and shout and get excited over, for someone who's never really into that, I felt I was wanting that, even though I just could never really get into football personally. But now that I found wrestling and had that as a major interest in my life for the last several years, I know what it's like to be excited and to scream and shout, be oh shit, this is happening. To have that is something really special, and last night was one of those moments.
And it's going to be one of those things you're going to look back on. It's I remember watching that on TV, live as it was happening.
And people making fun of you don't have memories of television. You can't have cromulent personal memories that revolve around television. I say the hell with that, because there's been a lot of wrestling moments in general that I feel that's just tied in my memory now.
Yeah.
Because plus wrestling, usually the viewership is communal, because we watch weekly wrestling every week with me, John, Ken, Justin, and then pay-per-views we have a whole gang over to watch.
Because what was it, Double or Nothing was the last one where we had. It was a house full of people.
15 people or more.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're all just screaming and shouting and having a great time. So I feel wrestling is important, and it does connect people in a lot of ways, and I feel the return of CM Punk is like one of those, like, that is like in the main timeline, you know, of wrestling history. That's definitely like a big like bookmark now.
Yeah, well, and also too, like, you know, I've seen like non-wrestling related publications talk about it too.
Yeah.
You know, it's had this reach even outside of wrestling.
One of my favorite tweets someone was making, trying to like articulate the just like the magnitude of this moment and like how people were reacting. They were trying to explain to their friends, like, you know what it was like when we were joking for years. What if they put Sephiroth in Smash Brothers?
Yeah,
It's kind of like that. Just like the weird hype and just like, oh shit, when it happened.
mm-hmm. It was something you were like, oh yeah, let's do this. Would be fun if this happened, but secretly deep down you wanted it.
Yeah.
And then just the surreality of it actually happening.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
A little preview for the AYC Network. There might be a certain other show on the channel that might have a very special CM Punk themed episode coming up pretty soon, so keep your eyes out for that one. If you're a wrestling fan and you want to hear more people talk about their love for CM Punk and that very special night.
Hell yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break real quick and be right back with you. Welcome back, everybody. John and I just getting back into what our weekend banter, just like all the big things and events and the misadventures therein.
Yep.
This isn't like a big weekly story, but just something I saw earlier in the week that kind of just unseated me, was that apparently scientists have made like a clone like brain tissue. So it's like this active like primordial brain, but it also started to develop like eyes with it as well. You know, the image you just saw of the article is like this. It almost looks like an egg yolk with like, you know, some kind of like mushy stuff in the center, like these dark black eyes, and the person who retweeted it was like, new terrifying consciousness just dropped.
Pat, I could have went my entire fucking life without having to hear anything that just came out of your mouth. I am terrified. Also, I am way too zooted to hear shit like this, all right?
Yeah, because I remembered that in the car the other day, and it's like on my way from lunch, like, was that thing conscious? Was that thing technically alive?
Probably. Just knowing how fucking cruel and just absurd the universe is. Like, you know, even if they couldn't detect that it was conscious, like, it was somehow still alive, and it's just like, I have no mouth, but I must scream. Oh, God, yeah. They're like, that is like a short story that has a concept that just terrifies me to my fucking core.
Nah, it's pretty brutal. I remember in college, like my freshman year of college, I thought of a great counter to that story. It's called I Had No Ass, But I'm a Shit.
I have no ass, but I'm a shit.
God. Oh, God, that reminds me.
3 Days Grace starts playing.
It's just,
Come on, if you can see.
just like an anime A and B, but like just like the character who has no butthole, just like, it's coming out of screaming. God, that just reminds me of a point earlier in the week that I was remembering, the Ripley's Believe It or Not show. Did you ever watch it?
Oh, I watched an uncomfortable amount of that show.
How like it was hosted by Dean Cain before he realized he was a right-wing shithead.
Wait, really?
There was one in like and yeah, it had to have been that one because like Dean Cain was the host.
Hold on, we looking this up. Not that I don't believe you. I'm just trying to remember.
I'm imagining you're probably remembering the show, but then like you can't like picture the host.
Oh, he definitely did one, and I think, yep, that was the one I watched. Fuck,
because that was the one in like the late.
That was Dean Cain,
like the early 2000s. And what I thought was so funny,
Bruce Campbell did a version of it too.
I don't remember the Bruce Campbell one, but
I think that one was a little later. But yeah, I definitely remember the Dean Cain one. God damn it.
And what I thought was just so funny is like how it had like these like weird, gruesome stories, but then like like in the corner, it'd be like, in 10 minutes, there's gonna be some titties, and like it just kept popping that up throughout the show. Like just a girl in her like low cut top, she's just like dancing around and like mushing her hair up, and like how dejectedly horny you think the audience is. It's like, oh god, titties in 10 minutes. We just have to get through this one more story, guys. And you see a girl pull a gun out of her tits.
Jesus.
Because it has these battle action bras. Because you can put a taser or like a thing of mace in it. And you just see like a girl with like big tits bouncing around on the bottom corner of the screen while they're interviewing with the guy with the record for least amount of faces, none.
Like this show sounds like an even more fucked up version of that show Mansers. You remember that?
I think that was this was like,
or any sort of programming on Spike TV.
Yeah, I'm thinking the late days of Ripley's Believe It or Not was like the primordial version of Manser, which is like, here's like some fucked up weird quasi science shit, but also girls jumping on trampolines.
Yeah, it's gonna be the most like sexist piece of shit that's ever come on TV.
Yeah, like, here's a guy who had his face fall off the flesh eating bacteria, but also there's titties coming.
Yeah.
Y'all hang around.
Yeah, I saw a meme about that show the other day. That's why it's in my brain. And it was like, will your balls explode? Find out tonight at 10 on Mansers on Spike TV.
It's like, how much doo-doo is on your toothbrush? When you drop a turd, how much is going to be back in your mouth?
How big of a turd does it have to be to shoot water up your butt? It's just like weird fucking shit like that. Just like, how long can you go without nutting before getting laser vision?
It's like, how much of your dick is hidden inside your body? Everybody's got 7 inches of hidden cock.
All right, guys. Today, I'm sponsored by Brain Force Plus. Now, Brain Force Plus, it will make you this ultimate alpha male Chad, not a beta bitch cuck, all right?
You'll jump higher, run quicker, fuck harder,
and fuck faster, and think harder. Just, oh, God.
And when you nut, you can knock a fly out of the air at 50 paces.
Just like, when it goes off inside her, it's like a shotgun blast. Jesus, honey.
Guaranteed to knock the bottom out of your money back.
God. God, I just threw up in my mouth. God,
that was the era of TV that existed in like the mid to late 2000s.
Like, and this was also the era where they would have the fucking Girls Gone Wild commercials on Comedy Central at like 3 a.m. Like, you would always have that one friend who would want to stay up, and it's just like, it's literally just like stars on the nips, dude. Like, if you know this thing called the internet?
Yeah, the internet was around. You didn't have to like wait to 1 a.m. to watch these videos of these drunken women being like
exploited,
taken advantage of.
I mean, it was from the same masterminds as Juiced.
Jesus.
But bringing it back to Dean Cain.
Yeah.
There was the most recent movie I saw him in. I gotta look and see when this movie came out. It was one of those Pure Flix movies.
Yeah.
It was the studio who does The God's Not Dead bullshit. Anyway, our church at the time was like, hey, we're going to take a trip to the movie theater to see this movie that's coming out. And we're like, sure, whatever, cool beans. I'll go. I like movies. But, this was a lot later than I thought it was. This was 2015.
Oh, wow.
And it was this movie called Do You Believe? And it's kind of got a pretty solid cast. Like, Sean Astin's in this movie. The chick from Spy Girls, Alexis Vega.
Wait, was this the story about the little boy who died and like saw heaven?
No. This is a different movie. It's basically trying to pull this like anthology Quentin Tarantino sort of thing where it's just like a day in the life of the city that has like, if you follow like 5 or 6 characters as their like lives intertwine and interact, and they all find Jesus, or they get run over by a car, which that is the climax to God's Not Dead.
Yeah, I remember
where the the atheist professor gets run over, and then like the preacher and his like bro from Africa, they come down And he's just like, oh man, you gotta accept Jesus into your heart. And the guy's like, my legs are broken. Okay. And then
Like, call an ambulance, please.
anyway, he accepts Jesus into his heart or whatever, and then dies. And then the fucking African preacher's like, today is a good day, everyone. And it's like, this dude just died, you fucking psychopath.
Was that the one that also ended with a concert with the Duck Dynasty dudes on it?
Yes.
God, Jesus.
But do you believe it was one of those interspersal ones? The atheist characters were like super just like unnecessarily extra.
Of course they would be.
Like, and the whole thing is like surrounding this like hospital.
Yeah.
So like Sean Astin is the doctor, and he's just like, why do people always pray to God? I'm the one who heals them, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, valid point.
Which is like, wow, like if you're trying to make a caricature of atheists, you're actually doing a pretty good job in bringing up some valid points against your own religion, but whatever. But and then there's this awfully like racist caricature of like a gang member whose name is Gangsta. Like I'm not joking. It's almost like level of minstrelly is Jesus. That's that bad. But one of the on top, like besides the racism, one of the worst things about this movie is Dean Cain's character. He plays one of these atheist people. I might be getting my movies confused. They're all the fucking same.
Yeah, I'm sure they all find together.
Let me see. Is Dean Cain in this one? I'm on Letterboxd right now. Fucking Delroy Lindo's in this movie. Like, what the fuck? No, I'm getting this confused with God, the first God's Not Dead. All right, yeah, because the Do You Believe is like the awfully racist one. And so is God's Not Dead. Like, that one's also stupid fucking racist. But Dean Cain's character in that movie, like, hold on, I think it's Alexa Vega's character. They're like boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. And... well, she's not in that one, but it's some like generic white woman, and and she gets a cancer diagnosis.
Yeah,
and Dean Cain's like, "What the fuck? Why did you get cancer, you stupid bitch?" And it was like, what? Like, there is no reason for this like level of hostility coming from anyone right now. It's like this kills my fucking boner, lady. You got fucking cancer. Bye. Like, you stupid piece of shit. I hope you fucking like die. And it was just like, it was like that level of disgust he had in his voice. Like, you got cancer. Like,
God.
Like, I don't know how anyone like would not have the professional integrity to just be like, you know what, Mr. Director, I think this is kind of fucked. But no one spoke up.
I guess not. Everybody just like, I need this $500, I guess. God, 'cause that reminds me of on the Dean Cain cast over here. Like, there's an episode of Kevin Smith's Comic Book Man where he was throwing a big celebration of Superman, one of his favorite characters, and he's like, guess what, guys, I got Superman coming to the store today. And it's like, well, we know you're in Hollywood, but like, what actor did you get? Because, you know, everyone knows George Reeves dead.
Yeah.
So like, they're going down the list, like all these characters, all these actors of who played Superman over the years. They're playing coy with it the whole time. And I'm thinking in my head, like, who else has played Superman? And it's like, it's not George Reeves. It's not Brandon Routh. I think like
Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve, excuse me. George Reeves is the point I get it to. It's like, is it fucking Ben Affleck? Because he played Superman in that Hollywoodland movie where he played George Reeves, the original actor for Superman, who like may or may not have killed himself or have been murdered. No one knows.
Yeah.
Now then like the big reveal, it's fucking Dean Cain, who showed up at the comic book store. I'm like, hell, I could get Dean Cain to show up to my house, wave $20 out the window. He'd come cut my grass.
It's just like, what the fuck, man? And then on top of that, he's like a weird Christian too, and
like obviously the level of Christian that's like, you know, fuck science, fuck any sort of sensibilities. And
Yeah.
so, like, obviously, if he was just a Christian, no one would care. But he's just making an ass out of himself, being like this very, like, stupid right-wing asshole.
Yeah, he's part of the, like, evangelical right, which is just... Why would you choose to be that level of an asshole? I don't know.
But yeah, he was the host of Ripley's Believe It or Not for a minute.
I guess that was before I knew who he fucking was.
Because I remember watching the Superman and Lois show, like, when I was 5 years old.
God, because it came on what, like the early 90s?
Early
or
90s.
Or mid-90s?
Yeah, like TNT. Had Terry Hatcher on it. She played Lois.
Let's see. It was Superman and Lois.
Yeah, The Adventures of Superman and Lois.
Not the new one, you stupid.
With Tyler Hoechlin. Also, apparently, Tyler Hoechlin has a fucking donk on that Superman show.
Has a donk?
Yeah, like big fat ass as Superman.
So 93 to 97.
Yeah.
It lasted long. 4 seasons. Holy fuck.
I feel like this is as much time as anyone has ever talked about Dean Cain.
On anything. Like, even like channels that exclusively cover like shitty like Christian propaganda movies don't talk about Dean Cain this much.
God.
This is a fucking world record for the show. Like, how long? It's like, Guinness, we calling you up. Like, what's record you want to set? The longest anyone's ever talked about the actor Dean Cain.
We actually get a spot in the Ripley's Believe It or Not almanac.
That would be fucking funny.
Right next to the lady who could pop her eyeballs out really big. God, that was unsettling to me as a kid.
Oh yeah, it's like, no, that's not what that's supposed to do. But
or the guy who like shot milk out of his tear ducts, or the guy who, I think it's the same guy who was able to push a popcorn kernel out of his tear duct. Do you ever see that?
No.
Oh
no.
Oh, one of my favorite like freaky bits was the guy who squeezed himself through like the hole of a tennis racket.
No.
Yeah, I think someone passed out during like the live demonstration of that because like he has to dislocate his arm. So when he got one through, he just like it's just flinging limply. And I think so like a lady passed out in the audience watching it. It was pretty surreal. I'm not gonna lie. as John sort of disassociates from this image I put in their head. But anyway, more positive things. I went on a little toy adventure earlier today.
Oh yeah?
I went to Walmart to pick up some groceries for my parents, and I always go check out the toy aisle whenever Walmart, Target, just to see what they have. And I will say I was surprised by Target because we live in a college town, school is starting back, all the aisles are blown out, everything's gone. Apparently even the toy aisle, because like all the Transformers and Power Ranger toys gone, barren. Just like naked pegs on the wall.
Yeah, like and any time you like go to try getting like AEW action figures, they're never there.
No,
it's just like, why do I even try?
When I went to Walmart, I noticed an unusual thing. I noticed several of the toys there were missing their heads.
Yeah,
Do you see these like oversized action figures, which are just sort of open air, and you can sort of like touch and play with a little bit outside of the box? But in case you don't know, there's something of a TikTok trend that people would steal the heads off these sort of open air action figures as like clout, I guess. Be like, hey, look at this! Look what I stole in public. It started, I'm pretty sure, with LeBron James dolls that released with the new Space Jam. People were stealing exclusively LeBron James dolls heads, and then that sort of escalated to like any open air doll they can just pop the head off and run away with.
why?
I guess it's sort of like this is the modern day equivalent of teenagers stealing like street signs for like social cred. It's like look what I stole, and ain't that a badass? Or if you want to play in a hard mode, you steal the head off a toy that's in a box and then put the toy back inside without cluing people in that you had like taken the head out. I saw a Batman, like a boxed up Batman toy that like its head was gone.
Really? Like,
I don't know where this. I mean, I know it's from TikTok, but I don't know who started it or like how it's now propagated to just like an open challenge for like kids to just steal the heads off of dolls.
I feel like, and I 100% mean this, that TikTok was a mistake.
But Johnson, it's the hottest growing social media. Everything wants to be TikTok. I mean, there's a girl whose TikTok was so famous she got cast in a movie with no prior acting experience.
I mean, Yeah, but Twitter's really popular too. And Twitter was definitely a mistake. I think we would have solved climate change by now if Twitter didn't exist.
But how will we know about climate change if it wasn't for Twitter? Everybody knows all credible information comes from Twitter now. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff I genuinely learned thanks to Twitter, and I appreciate that. But also at the same time, I kind of feel like I'm just overloaded with just, bullshit.
Oh, yeah, because anyone can say anything. So it was like, did you know in this far-flung island in the middle of the Pacific, they blah, blah. I don't know. It's some bullshit, but they say it with, an authority enough where people's like, that sounds credible. I'm not going to fact-check that, even though Google is literally, 5 seconds away.
Or make you feel ashamed for not knowing about X tragedy in the world, even though you literally had no idea it existed until, the second you read this tweet.
Yeah, because it's not like every tragedy is,
obviously, people are suffering, and that sucks, but, there's only so much that you can personally contribute to help with.
Well, and there is such a thing as, sympathy fatigue, where, you're on social media all day, you're just scrolling, and all you're seeing is, bad news. It's take a look what's going on in the Middle East, or, what's going on in China, or even, in our country, in, rural inner city areas at the border and shit like that. It's and
it's sort of
you only you only have enough emotional capacity for so much.
Yeah.
And I think I wish people would be a little more sensitive to that. And especially when people have it's their business, they can do what they want, but it's almost is this really your place to get this self-righteous about the certain thing that's going on in in a fairly obscure part of the world?
And obviously it's good that these things are being brought to light, and obviously there's a lot of things that mainstream media will just purposely exclude and not talk about.
Yeah.
And it should be brought to someone's attention, but I think people should be kinder to themselves in general, but also realize that you personally can't help everything. You can
there's only so much you individually can do.
Yeah. And you shouldn't feel bad for not being able to help every single cause. You help what you can with the resources you have. And
the thing is there are a lot of people around you who need help. It's better to spend your energy helping those that are closer to you, to where you can have a direct impact on someone's life in a positive way, versus fretting over some stuff you read about on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm also talking to myself, because I'm guilty of it too.
But
I'm not trying to act like I'm holier than thou.
Yeah, we're definitely not trying to take a moral high ground to people who take a moral high ground.
Yeah.
It's just more like a commentary on the matter. And realizing that Twitter, like you said, it can introduce a lot of new things and a lot of cromulent ideas from people in very specific circumstances who know that best. But also at the same time, it's good to know that Twitter isn't God. It isn't this moral high ground. It isn't this big brother. You can take a lot from it and it be valuable to you, but it isn't something this all-knowing, omnipotent eye that's judging you for not doing or thinking or saying a certain thing.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to myself here too.
Yeah, and I think people just need to realize that, Twitter just sucks. It really does, because it removes all context, all nuance, and I think people are also unfortunately quick to burn someone at the stake without having all the information too. So anytime there's oh, this person has said this thing, I'm okay, I want to look into this more. Versus my automatic reaction to be fuck that person. And most of the time, usually what they're getting canceled for, they deserve it, because they'll have said or done some fucked up shit. But there are also times where some things get blown out of proportion, and I think people get portrayed in a uncomfortable,
unfair light.
An unfair light, yeah.
Because I think of Twitter as just this rapidly moving stream. So, point will come across, and then by the next day, it's miles down the river. And so, while there is a lot of good, valuable, pertinent information, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that kind of you're just overwhelmed with. And back in the day, when people would read a newspaper or watch the news, there'll only be so much information or so many stories in a day, because like not really that much happens in a day. But we know now with this Twitter and this sort of globalization and like easy access to a vast amount of information at all times, like it's overwhelming. So we're living in an age where human beings can't match the speed of technology.
Yeah.
So the content you're receiving, the news and everything, that's sort of just overwhelming. So there's literally no way one human being can like keep track of everything. All news, good, bad, indifferent, like real world or just like humor or entertainment. Like it's human beings can't contain all this information. So like if you don't know this thing, don't feel bad. If you don't feel this way, don't feel bad. It's just like you take in exactly what you need to. You do what you think is right. You do the best you can. That's all you can ask.
Exactly. And I apologize. This episode has been kind of a downer.
It's really gone some peaks and valleys, hasn't it?
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess if we want to keep it depressing, I started reading Goodnight Pun Pun this week.
Oh, how traumatizing was that?
So far, not the worst. It's not even so much like any like individual like plot point that happens. It's more so just this sinking feeling you
that
get.
Something will happen.
Yeah, it's like you take like silly putty and stretch it, but the silly putty is depression and anxiety.
And then when it finally stretches so thin it breaks, like it's going to happen, but when is that break going to happen?
Yeah, you're just waiting in anticipation. And not to say that any of the shit that I've read right now that hasn't been fucked up. There's been like a lot of stuff where I'm like, woo! That's a lot. But I just turn into Ric Flair all of a sudden. Woo! That's how it is.
A pun just busted Johnson wide open. Woo! You just have like the red mask and your forehead's just like gushing blood.
Yeah, so.
Also, I got a Transformer.
Oh, what Transformer did you get? Let's see.
Showing them live.
Okay, that's sick as fuck.
Yeah, I'm showing John a new Transformer I got. Rebounding, we have a Transformer called Paleo Trex. It is a new line of Transformers from the Kingdom War for Cybertron line. Basically, it's a Transformer that looks like a T-Rex fossil, and it's pretty sick. This has been like
it's metal as fuck.
Like this is kind of like the line of Transformers that kind of got me back into collecting toys, because like I always had a fondness for Transformers, but then like, what if we took Transformers and made them dinosaurs, but also skeleton dinosaurs?
It's fucking awesome.
And plus, there's this cool bit where you see his head is scary, then boop.
He's got another face inside his face.
He has like a little battle face. And what's extra cool about this line, because not only does it transform between like a humanoid form and like their dinosaur robot form, but also just the fossilizer line, that you can take them apart and they can be used as accessories for other Transformers.
Oh, okay.
As seen at the back of the box.
Okay, that's cool as fuck. That's sick.
And like the very like creative and enterprising fans, they'll like kit bash like several of these. And so these are like these great big like fuck all OC creations of like several inches tall, like these like badass looking like warriors just made of like heaps of bones. It's really cool what people were able to like put together just from like playing with the different parts and pieces.
God, I just remember anytime I got a Transformer as a kid, just like getting frustrated with transforming it and just like, fuck this shit.
I think right now I have, including this one, 4 Transformers now, because I grew up in the Beast Wars era, so I have a really strong fondness for that one. So I have Black Arachnia, I have the Triceratops fossilizer, and now I have Paleotrex, and I forget his name, but he's vaguely animalistic, but basically he's a regular kind of like G1 style robot, but his alt form it looks kind of like an animal. It's kind of like hunched over, bipedal. Apparently it's supposed to be an ogre, quote quote. But like his character is that like he's Decepticon, so he's a bad guy. Mm-hmm. But he's rock dumb, just wants to please people. He secretes this like smelly ooze like unconsciously. So, like, he's really smelly and sad because no one wants to, like, have him on their team, but he just really wants to do a good job for people.
That's kind of depressing, Pat, but also kind of, I don't know, endearing.
That's kind of why I picked him, too.
Hell yeah.
Because I got him at, like, Magic CD Con like on a con weekend 2 years ago, and I bought 2 more Transformers on our last con weekend.
Oh God, yeah. That was a fun weekend.
I was looking forward to going to more cons this year, but like with Lockdown Part 2 kind of rearing its ugly head, I don't know if we'll get to, but I'm glad we got to go to Magic City when we did.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And I guess before we leave, I guess I got one more thing to talk about.
Sure, go ahead.
And recently been getting back into fighting games.
Yep.
I started with getting Guilty Gear Xrd, and I got that for the PlayStation. Right, it went on sale because it was Strive was about to come out, and then I on the Nintendo eShop had a sale on the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna buy it. So I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter, and I forget how fucking hard Street Fighter is. It is some bullshit. And like the only one I'm like relatively like decent at is the one that everyone says is the hardest, which is Third Strike.
Really?
Yeah, like, and it's definitely unforgiving with like your button inputs. You have to be pretty precise with it, but it moves at a faster pace than, especially like a lot of the Street Fighter 2s, like even like Hyper Fighting and Turbo. They still move a little too slow for me.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, trying to figure out, frames and stuff like that is a little harder when I'm used to newer games, but Third Strike has been a lot of fun, and it has a lot of characters like I'm not super familiar with, because I'm more familiar with like Street Fighter 2 and then the base Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
Because those were the ones I played the most growing up. So a lot of like the Third Strike and Alpha exclusive characters I wasn't super familiar with, but like Third Strike has some good ones. Like this is the game that introduces like Dudley, who's like this British boxer.
Yeah, he's the one that is kind of like dressed like a butler a little bit.
Yeah, he's really cool. The quote main like character for that game is this guy Alex. He kind of has like a professional wrestler build.
Yeah.
Like I was showing you that clip earlier, the character doing the DDT.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Alex. Yin, or is Young and Yang, and they're these twin Hong Kong siblings.
Yeah.
And then, they have like more like a traditional like martial arts fighting style, and they are just fucking OP as fuck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially Yun, the guy with the baseball cap. He's probably like one of the best characters to play. And Chun-Li, who is my main in most Street Fighters, is broken as fuck. Just like holy shit. But yeah, I like getting back into Street Fighter made me remember, it's like, oh fuck yeah, this was a lot harder than I remember.
Because like I remember like our Guilty Gear nights from earlier in the year. That was a lot of fun.
We need to do that again.
Because like we talked.
Hell, if you want to do it tonight, I think that would be cool.
Because we talked earlier between us that like maybe having like fighting game tournaments at the house, because we were like permanently borrowing Shimmy's like Xbox, and he has a few fighting games in there we
got some Dead or Alive, which that one I think we were playing Dead or Alive 3. That one's really fun.
I remember. I feel like I've had more success with Guilty Gear, because like I remember really floundering with Dead or Alive.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't know. I meant to pick up. They had the fuck all edition of Tekken 7 on sale. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but I would love to get into Tekken.
Yeah.
I know Soul Calibur was a big one for us.
Oh, I remember like the Soul Calibur 2 days, and we wore that out. At least like me and my cousins.
Yeah,
that was a big one.
If it wasn't 2, it was 4 for us. That was the one that had Vader and Yoda in the Xbox version.
I'm looking at the roster for Third Strike. I remember you showed me Alex and Dudley and Elena, like long ass limbs Elena.
Yeah. She's from Kenya and using like an African, like a more traditional African fighting style. Like she's weak. She controls weird for me. Like I'm not used to it, so But like if you watch like high level play of people who know what they're doing, it's fucking crazy.
There's one character in it. Q. I think Q's my favorite character. Even though I haven't played it, but like I really like Q.
He's the guy in the trench coat, right? Yeah.
And like as a Toku fan, I'm drawn to him particularly because he's very clearly based off the main character from the Showa era tokusatsu show, Robot Detective K.
Okay, that is probably like a deliberate reference then.
Yeah, I mean, it looks almost exactly like him in terms of design. Like it. The only thing that's different is that in Robot Detective K, like the face is pretty similar except it's blue. Except because like he's a robot and it's trying to like approximate human behavior to like endear himself to man. Because like he genuinely wants to help people and like assimilate, but like he doesn't quite get it. So he's wearing like this very loud like red suit coat and like a big red paperboy hat. So like he's garishly dressed, but he's like unfailingly polite.
Yeah.
And then like when like the bad guy is like a monster that's made of a stack of magnets and it's just like time to go into battle mode, he starts shooting rockets.
Hell yeah.
Which Robot Detective K, it's a fun time. Go check it out on YouTube. I think the whole series is on there.
We'll need a. Do you still have the thing that you can put your Joy-Cons in to make a
controller? Yeah.
We need to do that soon.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good time.
And I would also like to play games like Street Fighter 2, where the computer isn't just like unforgiving. And like I turned the difficulty down for Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and apparently that was a problem with the game because they were using a specific ROM of a set of arcade cabinets where the difficulty was just busted as fuck.
That's the one thing I remember, like one that really stands out by a lot of these like classic fighting games is that how like fucking broken the AI is for like a lot of these games. Like SNK was really bad about that.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to their bosses, or like Magneto in that, what was it, that one game?
Marvel vs. Capcom?
Marvel vs. Capcom or X-Men
versus Street Fighter.
Yeah, or even, hell, the X-Men fighting game, Children of the Atom.
Fuck.
Because it was that led to Marvel vs. Capcom versus X-Men and Marvel vs. Capcom.
I played a lot of that game as a kid.
Because they had Capcom versus Capcom versus X-Men cabinet at John would know this, Vision Land.
Yep.
Vision Land is like the former name of Alabama's like one theme park.
It's called Alabama Adventure now,
and it's predominantly a water park now, because the water park was the thing most people went to.
Yeah. Like I remember, and I'm just not a huge fan of like crazy roller coasters.
Yeah.
But they had this really cool Star Wars ride that I just shit my pants when I was a kid. I was like, no more. So we mostly just stuck to the water park.
Yeah, because that's where everybody went. I know when my family, extended family, would get season passes, like we always went to the water park.
And I think there was a time where our thrift store had a like X-Men versus Street Fighter cabinet. I remember playing the fuck out of that. It is so fun, and it's got me wanting to get into some like more of the obscure Capcom fighting games like Darkstalkers and games like that. Like, I love like their sprite work. Some of the best.
It's like so detailed, and like there's like all these like very circumstantial like sprites that'll come up just for like a brief animation or like an attack, and like there's one move that affects every character a little differently and how they respond to it, and like just the level of detail they poured over in Darkstalkers is just crazy. Yeah,
like just and the early Marvel versus Capcom games, because I got into 3 for a while, and that game is fun, but like I remember playing MVK2 or MVC2, and it was so good. It had like so many fucking characters. Yeah, it was fucking great.
And then like with Capcom, they have like some really out there fighting games.
I want that fucking JoJo fighting game they did.
Yeah,
where it's just part 3, but like it looks so good. It came out like 99.
Yeah, because it was like for the original PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. But let's see how much it is.
God, probably too much.
See.
like hundreds of dollars. Like just like some other ones, like there's like Tech Romancer, which is like a mech fighting game.
Yeah.
And like there's just like so many crazy fighting games, all just like dripping with like character and personality. Like God, I just love the art director who did the concept art or the character art for all the Capcom fighting games, like Bengus, like all time artists. You know, there's a reason why everybody parodies or like does like their version of the Street Fighter poster. Everybody's sort of facing toward each other.
But yeah, you're for an English JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Capcom game, you're looking at minimum $550, if not $600.
Yeah, so
that is fucking ridiculous.
So that's not happening.
And then because Sony fucking killed the PlayStation Store, that was the only way you could do it. You know, officially anyway.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people really love the newest, like, Killer Instinct. People say this newest Tekken is the best. And Tekken was definitely one of the ones I wanted to get into, but just for some reason never did. Because with us, it was mostly Mortal Kombat, but, you know, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, or mostly anime fighting games, let's be real.
Yeah, I know with my family, it's like a lot. Like, for years, it was the Dragon Ball Z fighting game, and then it went to Naruto. I don't think we ever got that one Bleach one. I just feel kind of cheaped out that my friend group, when we were coming up, it was exclusively Smash Brothers. That's obviously the only fighting game we ever played. And, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Smash Brothers, but, like, it was to the point I have no urge to ever buy a Smash Brothers game because I played so much of it as a teenager. Like, I don't ever feel the need to own it, and like no matter what, I can never convince someone to try something else. It was only Smash Brothers. I was like,
and it's not to shit on Smash Brothers. I love Smash Brothers. I have Ultimate. Like it's my favorite.
I get hype every time there's a direct with the Smash stuff in it. But like it's a very myopic worldview when the only fighting game you ever play is Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm. I'm old because every game, various games have different mechanics and. I don't know, because I'm just like a fucking nerd, so like I love those really technical ones like Street Fighter, like Guilty Gear. God, me discovering Guilty Gear, I was like, this is fucking perfect. Where has this been my entire fucking life?
Yeah, and I love over-the-top shit in general, but I just love how fucking bonkers and batshit Guilty Gear is.
Like, having someone try to explain the story of Guilty Gear, they automatically look like Charlie from It's Always Sunny with the fucking corkboard. Like, I swear to God, man! All I know is my main, and they better put her in fucking Strive, or else I'm probably not going to buy it. Which is a lie. I'm going to buy Strive eventually.
But I'm not going to be happy about it.
Even though this game has been out for like months at this point. But it's fucking biking. My fucking big titty, one-armed samurai lady who would crush my face. Hell yes. There's a guy who swings a coffin with an alien from Area 51 and is the president of the United States. What the fuck?
Yeah, what? Like he's a character I've been seeing a lot from the new Guilty Gear, and it's like, I want to main him. He sounds rad as fuck.
And you know he's going to be like one of the hardest fucking characters to play.
Oh yeah, because like it's funny how I'm not a great skill level gamer. I just kind of I do what I can. I feel like I gravitate toward games that are just harder to play. Like I found like a certain way a rhythm that I get into a Guilty Gear. I have a really strong fondness for Bloody Roar, and that game's not super intuitive, at least not for me.
Which one was that?
Bloody Roar was the fighting game where you turned into anthropomorphic animals and fought.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I remember it. I haven't played it. I don't know.
Like, basically, the storyline is, what if Resident Evil and X-Men combined their respective plots in something batshit crazy?
That sounds fucking rad.
And like, also one of the bad guys looks like Maximilian Pegasus, who turns into a cyborg dragon.
That's sick as fuck.
Yeah, it's real sick. But
you get my boy.
And I remember seeing like the combos to do shit. I was like, that's some fucking witch shit. I don't know how they manage that.
God, that's like Marvel versus Capcom combos where you can do like if you like throw them in the air and you start juggling, you can literally like take someone from full health to dead in like 30 seconds. It's wild. And I got to where I could start one of those, but once you start getting into like all like canceling and resetting, I'm like, I do not have the fucking neural pathways to do this shit.
Like, I gotta activate the fucking Sharingan to get this shit going. God,
Got the fucking renegades. Like, y'all fuck now, boy.
This is like almighty push.
Boom. God, that for me, that was like the last like really like fantastic arc of Naruto.
Yeah, that's still an all-time moment for me in anime and manga reading. It's like when the motherfucker pulled down the meteor from fucking space. And they'd be like,
Madara.
Yeah.
And then the Tsuchikage is like, ah! And it's this big ordeal. And then he's like,
whoo, I stopped the meteor.
And he's like, what about the second one?
And a second goddamn meteor crashes into the back of the first one.
Thousands of people die. Like,
I don't care. Hypest fucking moment in Naruto.
oh yeah, it was hype as shit. And like the intelligent part of my brain does not like Madara because he is just that stupidly OP.
Yeah, he's broken as fuck. So broken that the creator of Naruto had to think of another villain to show up because he wrote himself into a corner and how to beat him.
Exactly, but the fucking dumb bitch part of my brain's like, that's fucking hot.
When the monkey part of your brain's like, yeah, fuck, give me digits that summon fucking meteors.
And he's not really alive either. It's like, what the fuck?
It's like this revenant zombie ninja that's just cutting swaths through like ninja armies.
Well, and the thing is like Naruto animation was like not the greatest, but they held out for some of those fights. Like the shit with Pain, that one scene where like fucking Madara is literally like cutting through like thousands of motherfuckers.
Like when his eyes are like zipping all around.
Just like like he's just doing like advanced calculus in his head. Like just fucking lines of code just come across the screen.
Like he sees the Matrix,
it's like,
and he kills like 10,000 people.
Yeah, motherfucker like goddamn Neo, and he's just clowning on him too. It's not like he's just like fucking punch, breakneck, you're dead. No, he would like be purposefully cruel, like take those paper bombs, like strap them to people, like pull them, like kick them away as they like fucking explode.
Yeah, like he was like being like malicious as fuck.
He's just like, what are y'all going to do?
God, that's good shit. All right. Well, I think we ran the gamut today. We talked about a week and talked about everything else in between. So I think this is another top-notch Banter episode. What do you think there, John?
I think it was, maybe. I don't know.
It's like I was there for like half of it.
I'm here, and I'm sorry for being depressing, everybody. I'll try not to be next episode.
Hey, you're just feeling what you're feeling right now, and that's being honest. We talk about what comes to mind, and we did. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And the horny.
No.
I don't know. That bike can talk, though.
But it's kind of like Wenzel said, where he's just like, it's more like adoration, like, hell yes, you were awesome.
Yeah, but also, I totally appreciate this character on a purely artistic level, and also don't look under the table. But thank you all so much for listening today. We hope you had a great time, because we certainly did. Be sure to follow us wherever podcasts are found, and that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Google Podcasts, all those places, wherever podcasts are found. Be sure to like, rate, reviews, and subscribe on all those platforms. Helps us out, keeps us visible, puts us in front of you listeners, and we always appreciate you when you do it. 5 stars, reviews, all that good stuff. Coming up on the greater AYCH network, on Tuesday, you can look forward to an interview where Tanner talks to one of the AYCH originals, and that's good old Ground Beef Cody.
I'm sorry, I was straight up disassociating. And right as I was coming back into my own body, all I heard was you describing Cody as ground beef. What?
That's like deep magic. That's like one of the first bits from the podcast. Cody was called Ground Beef Cody. Am I the only one who keeps up with the lore of this show?
Apparently.
Goddamn.
Well, it's because you're just like those fucking sports announcers who are like, this is the 6th time on the blue moon in October that that anyone has ran for over 2,000 yards in a season. Like, what the fuck? It is the most, like, random ass shit, too. I'm just like, at least Pat's keeping up with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know where to begin with stuff
It's like
that.
I can't be bothered.
No, it's not that. I just don't have the, like, mental capacity to. I'm a dumb bitch. That's what I'm saying.
It's just like, who needs like history or science when you just have like the narcissistic rememberings of like your own show? But anyhow, look forward to for that on Tuesday, Tanner's interview with Cody, and on Thursday with Cage and Greatness. You can look forward to a special Uncaged episode, a little more informal on an already very informal show, where we, instead of talking about a Nick Cage movie, we each come up with a Nicolas Cage themed restaurant.
Yes, and it is very fun. We also seem like we're in a hurry because that was recorded yesterday to this recording when CM Punk debuted.
Yeah, because that episode was
AEW.
recorded the same night that CM Punk was going to come out on AEW, and we were just sort of keeping an eye on the clock to make sure we got our bits in, and it still got up in time to catch the show. But that's very fun. Please go out and check that out when it arrives. And lastly, you can follow me, Patrick, on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. John lost his name in my art on Facebook. John lost his name art.
My name is John. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIIBY24 and JohnNunson12 on Letterboxd.
All right, thank you all so much for listening. Come back next week when we have our annual summer wrap-up show. So talk to you soon, and y'all have a good night, and be careful.
The one thing that me and CM Punk have in common is I shit my pants.
Nice.